Around the point I got Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, it was a while since I got any gifts. These 2 games, and yes, I'm going to sort of show them both at once, came from the UK. One of my cousins was in the UK at the time, and he said, oh, I like these games, you should check them out too. It is Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2. So, Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2. I'm going to put them up at roughly the same time because they are similar experiences for me, whether it was the hard sort of arcade style mode of going through all the stages and the mini games. It was also reasonably popular in multiplayer in my gaming experiences. And even then, I still haven't necessarily completed the hardest modes or stages or stories of these games. But even playing the games again, just to do this collection video, I still am amazed by how fun these games are. They were sort of, I guess, remastered or something for the Switch and stuff, and I've not played that version. And some people might prefer only the arcade mode or the minigame mode in regards to single player and multiplayer. But these games honestly are not worth monkeying around if you haven't got these games already. Oh my goodness, me monkey puns. And I also had a banana before filming this video. But even so, these are 2 great games and great gifts as well. So check them out. Oh my gosh, they're making a sequel to one of my favorite games of all time. Metroid Prime got the sequel, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. You saw how much I loved Metroid Prime 1, right? Well, they announced, I think, almost right after release that they were making a sequel, and I saw screenshots and stuff of this, and I was like, oh my gosh, Metroid Prime 2! So yeah, this game, at least to me, is not as good as the first one, but I still really, really like this game a lot. I think this game took me a longer time to appreciate this game, mostly because of the light and dark world idea, and it was also harder as well. Metroid Prime 1 could be hard sometimes, but this game, at least 2 or 3 of the bosses are just so hard, almost regardless of how many energy tanks you have. And also, yes, the multiplayer could have probably been a bit better as well. But yes, everything that's made the first Metroid Prime good is in this game. The production values, the gameplay, the exploration, the taking your time with everything and just going around and doing stuff. I still really, really like this game. I'm gradually going through the Wii version of this game, and oh yes, I did play the Wii version of Prime 1, almost forgot to say that. I am not exactly sure from what I played of the Wii version how easy the bosses are, which was, I guess, a complaint that was addressed in that. But still, I mean, you can get around to beating the bosses of this. I mean, I have beaten this game on hard mode and I got all the scans and the pickups and everything. But even so, even if this is purely just a sequel to Metroid Prime 1 with some changes that are probably too difficult or a little bit bleh, nah, forget about that. This is still a terrific game, and even if you consider it better than Prime 1, like I do like the art direction more of this game, I wouldn't disagree. This is a great game and worth picking up. When the GameCube was first announced, there was a game announced for it that I was like, oh yes, I recognize, I think, that series. Well, at least one of its sequels was released previously, and I had heard of this series, and this game was coming out, and I was so intrigued that I had to get it, and I think I got it for my birthday. It is also another GameCube favorite, Resident Evil 4. This comes in 2 discs. I'll just show them off. Oh, did I lose the manual for this one? I think I put it in my copy of the Wii version. Ooh, Wii collection. This one is on 2 discs, so you have to swap the disc around at a certain point in the main story. And also to come with it is a Resident Evil 4 bonus disc. This features videos about Resident Evil 4, but also Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1 Remake, and the ports of Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, and Resident Evil Code Veronica, plus a behind-the-scenes interviews thing. So just for the purpose of my talking about this game, I'll just hold the main copy of what is one of my favorite games and my first Resident Evil game. 4 is my entry to the series, surprisingly enough. And yes, I know it's like, hey no, Resident Evil 4 changed the series around, it made it more action-packed and all that stuff. But Resident Evil 4 could still be a scary game, and the action made it so much fun to play from start to finish. I remember picking up the game and experimenting with the tank controls, and it's, well, at least I don't know at the time, it's third-person sort of shooter camera perspective. I liked exploring around and looking for the items and the upgrades and shooting all the bad guys and all that stuff. This game is such a thrilling, and sometimes scary game. Like even sometimes when I play this game today, and especially on the harder difficulties, I still can get a little bit scared from it, but in a very fun survival horror way. I also do have the Wii version of this game, which might be the better version of this game for me, but the GameCube version of Resident Evil 4 has some I have some fond memories of it. And this game is absolutely amazing, but you don't need me to tell you that, right? Now, this next one was given to me as a gift because, wait, they owned it and they didn't want it anymore? I guess they didn't like this game as much as other games in the series, and maybe some of you don't like it too, and to be fair, I've only done the first part of this game. It is Resident Evil 0. This one also has 2 discs. So yeah, maybe I don't have a lot to say about this game, having only played the first bit of it. And I did know a fair amount of information about it before even playing it at all. So, spoiler alert, I don't have a Resident Evil 1 remake. I've got the Wii version of that, which is still essentially the GameCube version, but with just different controls. But after I played Resident Evil 4, I did play Resident Evil 1 remake with my friend, the very same friend who gave me this and said, you can have it, I don't like this game. I was really amazed at how the Resident Evil series essentially started with the static camera angles, still the same tank controls, so Resident Evil 4 still got me used to that, and the dark, grim atmosphere of the Haunted Mansion and all that. So I played a lot of Resident Evil 1 Remake after understanding how the series worked, and I still only played a little bit of this, and I still intend to get through the game overall. I think people may not like this game as much. I've heard it's more difficult, the inventory management system is even more of a problem, and also you also control 2 characters and stuff. So the first part I've completed was the train section, so I'm essentially at what I think is essentially the main haunted house portion of the game. I'm looking forward to going through that. At least I'll keep my expectations level as I go through this game, which just like the Resident Evil 1 Remake has, good graphics, challenging puzzles and enemies and stuff, and hey, don't tell me in the comments, no Viddy, don't play through Resident Evil 0, just play through the other ones or replay the other ones. No, I'll get through this game. I did kind of enjoy the train section, and I can still see from a story perspective why this is called Resident Evil 0. Here we go with yet again another horror game. And this is the point in the GameCube's history where, well, it was pretty much, I think, overtaken by the Nintendo Wii now. So from this point on, I mostly collected games or asked for people's help in finding them. I'm pretty sure I asked my older brother to go online and help me find a reasonably cheap copy of Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. I actually made the manual myself. This game did not come with it, so I made the manual myself based on the internet, and of course there's the disc, and again we've got the back. So, Eternal Darkness is a game I also heard about very early on in regards to the initial GameCube release and all that, and it was originally meant to be on the Nintendo 64 and all that stuff, and it took me this long to play it. Well, I kind of wish I played it sooner. Then again, after Resident Evil, I was really getting into horror games, and this game is no exception. Eternal Darkness, what is there that hasn't been said about it? Wait, this is upside down. Wait, flip the image. Oh, goodness me. This is going insane. No. Okay. That was a lame joke about what is essentially the main selling point to this game that I knew about, which were the insanity effects where it looks like your TV is completely switched off and your game's data is gone and everything. But of course, out of the scripted ones, you have to be careful not to avoid those as you try and make your way through a pretty decently lengthy campaign with 12 really good different characters in a good story and solving the puzzles and taking off enemies. There are a few problems I have in regards to the exploration and trying to figure out the puzzles and the bosses and stuff, but this is still a really good underappreciated horror game. This is a psychological horror first and foremost, and really, if you've not played this game, you should. And we need a sequel, but I don't think we're getting it. It would look like this. It would be upside down. We're going insane wanting a sequel to this game, but I can still come back to this game and complete it more than 3 times. Oh yes. Okay, we're not getting so scary now, but we're still going with my collecting the GameCube games, where I found online a copy of Mario Power Tennis. And yes, the back is in a different language, I know, but this is a PAL European copy, so it still works on my PAL GameCube. Now, I guess it took me a while to get around to even getting this game. I remember playing, I guess, a bit of it at a shop or something and playing it a little with friends, again, who had a copy of it. And I will admit, my initial impressions of this game probably weren't that favorable. I don't know why. Maybe I was just too attached to Mario Tennis on the Nintendo 64. And there's just, little things, I guess, like the power shots and stuff, which didn't appeal to me and stuff. But the more I thought about it and the more I played it, especially after getting a copy of this game, I actually do find this game somewhat fun. And while it took me a while to get all the cups and all that stuff in Mario Tennis on the Nintendo 64, this Mario Tennis entry can provide an experience nowadays where I can just very gradually go through the cups, pop it on the GameCube every now and again just to play it, and I do have a little bit of fond memories of playing it closer to its initial release, and this was reasonably priced as far as the online games went, and it is an enjoyable tennis game. Maybe I do prefer the Nintendo 64 one more, but this is still a good Mario Tennis game, and some might say probably one of the best in the series. Here we go with another collected GameCube game, Soul Calibur 2. I was also intrigued by this game for a while, and I guess I just finally got around to playing it, and I chose this one over the PS2 and Xbox ones because it has Link from The Legend of Zelda as a playable character. Oh my gosh, you cannot beat that. But I'm sure the PS2 and Xbox exclusive characters are fine too. But if for those of you who have played it, you know what I'm talking about. This is a fun beat 'em up. I played very little of the other Soul Calibur games, especially the Dreamcast predecessor, which, just like this game, really was like mind-blowing in terms of its graphics and stuff, and it was also just plain fun to play as well. I still only played a little bit of this game in terms of the solo content and all that, but this is honestly a solid fighting game, and I'm not just saying that because it has Link in it. Going around for different characters and arenas and stuff, it is a really fun and solid game. Many of the combos honestly feel too impossible to pull off, like what? And that can certainly make the difference between winning and losing in this game, but aside from that, this is a beat 'em up and I need to play more because every time I have played it, you just want to, it's fun. Simple as that. Now the next game is again another game I was interested in for a while and only finally got around to playing it, and it's also a beat 'em up of sorts as well, but it's also a very quirky game as well, and also very reasonably priced for how I found it online. It is Beautiful Joe. So Beautiful Joe I was also kind of interested in, and I only finally got around to collecting it and all that sort of thing as well. I kind of wish maybe I got it sooner, but maybe if I was younger I probably wouldn't have appreciated this game like I do now. Like, this game is really quirky and unique, but also fun and extremely challenging. Like, its pop culture references, especially when you pause the game and stuff, and also its art style and stuff, but also it is just a really solid sort of side-scrolling beat 'em up game where you go through a bunch of levels, slow down time and zoom in and do the special abilities and stuff and take on some really challenging bosses, and also try to get the best ratings in terms of how well you do against the enemies or how fast you do it in. This is a rock solid game, and I'm looking forward to playing through the rest of it. I've done, I think, most of it by the time I've recorded this video. This is honestly a really good game, and yes, I also got it from Europe as well to work with my PAL GameCube. If you haven't played this game, I think you really should. Don't be put off by its quirky nature, seriously. Next up I have what is probably the most expensive game in my collection, and I still found it for as cheap a price as I possibly could, but yeah, this game is not cheap. It is Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, the second Paper Mario game. Or was it third? Oh wait, we have Super Mario RPG. Anyways. Oh, I think this one didn't come with a manual either, but I got it online. Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is, to me, the definition of a cult classic. There's a small portion of people on the internet who say this game is brilliant, and I'm inclined to agree with that. The funny thing about this game, though, is that at the time it came out, I hadn't really got into the Mario RPG series. I only rented the first Paper Mario, and I was a little bit unsure about it. It was only through playing Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga on the Game Boy Advance I was like, okay, I want to play more RPGs, I guess, with Mario and his friends and foes. The thing is, though, by the time I thought more about playing it, the GameCube went away, and this game shot up in price. I did play it on the Dolphin emulator pretty much, but I also really wanted a physical copy of this game too, I really did. And I found a really expensive but still as cheap as possible price to play this game. Whether I prefer this game or its predecessor, I'm honestly not sure. They're about equal for me. There are a few backtracking and pacing issues I have with this game, but outside of that, the art style is timeless, the music is quirky, and the exploration and RPG mechanics are just so much fun to play around with. Also, the other flaw I got to mention is that it can be a bit easy. But hey, just like with Paper Mario, just adjust the upgrades and partners differently, and you can play this game sort of however you want as you go through a great story where also Bowser and Peach are playable and mock the Mario universe and this game. They mocked me for playing this game. No, this game is absolutely great. Look, even if you have to play it on an emulator, just play this game. It's really, really good. Oh, I almost want to play it again now, but I've got to finish this collection video. Next up, for these games, well, just like Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2, I'm also going to show off 2 games that I got roughly at the same time for myself. These games are kind of expensive, nowhere near as expensive as Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and they are my first entries into the 3D realm of Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes, we have got here Sonic the Hedgehog, well, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. This is Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Now, having got these games super recently, I haven't got very far on them. In fact, I only tested out the first level in Sonic Adventure 2 just to be sure that this game would work. I've got further in Sonic Adventure, and honestly, I'm enjoying the games, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, what about them? I think when it comes to Sonic, I'm more of a 2D Sonic person, and I know that's a little bit cliche and predictable, and these are of course the first entries, and maybe they sort of improved the whole 3D Sonic game theme later on. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But look, from what I play these games, honestly, they are more fun than I was expecting. Like with Sonic Adventure 1, I liked the exploration, and I liked the stages, which really do seem to show a fair amount of replayability. There's a fair amount of stuff, like better rankings in the Chow Gardens and all that stuff, I guess, which I'll hopefully get around to and really use the Game Boy Advance functionality. Oh wait, I forgot to mention Zelda the Wind Waker had that, but I barely used it. So yeah, these are solid Sonic games, and I just need to play through more of them to properly play Sonic in 3D for my first time. Everyone has to start somewhere. Okay, we're nearing the end of my GameCube collection. I did get 2 games at the same time, but we'll show them off one at a time. You'd think this game I would have got closer to launch. It is the launch title of Luigi's Mansion. So this is also a European copy of a game that, kind of like the Sonic 3D games, is also sort of more expensive than it was initially when it came out, including the players select, half price fee. But I got this game for as cheap as possible as I could, and I'm going to properly complete this game, and I'll explain what I mean by that. My only history with Luigi's Mansion is of course hearing about it around the GameCube launch, playing it for a little bit at a friend's place, and I rented this game, possibly with the intent to completing it in one weekend or week, however long the rental was, and the rental copy did not work. It's odd that the moment you boot up this game, there is a sort of deep, croaky, possibly unsettling Nintendo sort of sound, and the rental copy did not even play that whole sound. It just went, I could not even play the game. Thankfully, this copy does work, at least from the first portion of this game that I have played. I can finally get around to properly completing this game. I think I put off playing this game, or at least collecting it, because honestly of how short it was. But I did enjoy what little I played of it back then, and Luigi's Mansion 3 is probably my favourite entry in the series, but this is really good so far. And it also has a better, I think, sort of aesthetic or atmosphere than Luigi's Mansion 3. A good mixture of scariness, but it's not too scary, and the whole child-friendly Luigi Nintendo image. The graphics are great, the controls are great, the progression is great, and I can actually properly play this game now. It's pretty good. Finally, my 25th and final GameCube game, well, at least until I get more. We'll come back to that. Also, I got this from Europe as well. Actually, no, technically I didn't. Luigi's Mansion and this one I got from an Australia, game store online, but I guess they have European copies of this game. Just like Luigi's Mansion, this game is also reasonably expensive. Try and get it before it goes up in price. And I also put off playing this game for, honestly, I do not know why. I don't think any of my friends had it, but I wasn't skeptical of this game like many were. Yes, this is Star Fox Adventures. Oh, is the disc inside my GameCube? Whoops. Okay, there's the disc. I got it out of my GameCube so I could talk about it. So when I first heard about this game, being developed or whatnot, I was actually really interested. It did not faze me at all that this was going to be a game that was primarily going to take foot on a place called Dinosaur Planet and have little to no Arwing sections. Like, what? This is not a Star Fox game. Well, I didn't experience that at all, and I was interested to see as a kid that, hang on, this was going to be on the Nintendo 64 and with a character named Crystal, who does feature in this game in a different capacity. I figured I'd finally get around to playing this game while it's reasonably in price, and from what little I played of this game, it's honestly a pretty good game so far. Sure, it's not exactly the Star Fox game that we were expecting after Star Fox 64 or Live At Wars, and it feels a bit too much like a Zelda game, but it's honestly a really solid game. The graphics are pretty good for its time as well, especially Fox's fur. People wouldn't shut up about that. It's also essentially the only game Rare made on the GameCube, but we know what happened to them. I'm enjoying it so far, even though I sometimes can get a little bit lost on where to go. Like there are one or two places I was at the game where I was like, hang on, I needed this, or I needed, Tricky the dinosaur, who, as annoying as he is, provides some help in the game, digging up stuff. And of course the other dinosaurs and creatures, well, yeah. I've still got many more hours left in it to play, but I'll go try and complete this game. I'm really enjoying it so far. And that's the thing, there's many more hours of these GameCube games that I have yet to play on this amazing system. What games do you have for your GameCube? Do you play them on the GameCube or on the Nintendo Wii, which was backwards compatible? I played it on the Nintendo Wii as well. So yeah, the GameCube was probably underappreciated, but it's such a great system. It's probably one of my favorite systems, and I chose it over the PS2 and Xbox. Generally, my friends or cousins would have those systems, and I got around to playing more PS2 and Xbox games eventually, but we'll come back to that in my collection series. Will I get any more GameCube games though? Because, yeah, in contrast to the Nintendo 64 collection video, we don't have a montage of digital GameCube games. I think there was rumors of GameCube games coming to the Wii U, which didn't happen, and they may not come to the Switch Online or anything. Where is it? Some of the games are really expensive, including Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Like even Fire Emblem Path of Radiance is so expensive that I've started investigating an emulator copy of that. And yes, I know I shouldn't. But seriously, re-release Fire Emblem Path of Radiance or something, I would get it. Okay, better calm down. There, exactly. But still, maybe this collection will increase over time. It was quite a collection. I mean, this was 2 parts. But for the time being, I am pretty happy with my collection. And again, I want to know what games you have in your collection. Speaking of which, I want to give a shout out actually, now that I talked about my GameCube and my collection of games, GameCube Galaxy. And not just for the great channel, but also very recently he did an essential GameCube buyer's collector's guide, which is really good. It is actually lengthy with a fair amount of effort and collab being put into it. It not just talks about the games, including games you may not even be aware of or that I certainly don't have in my collection, but also the accessories, the value of the consoles and the games, and recommendations depending on which certain genres or series you're in. So if you want a good Mario game or a good action game, check out that video, and especially check out his channel, link below in the description. So yeah, sorry this one took a while to do. I guess I just had to find footage and motivation to make this collection video, but hey, I mean, more comfortable talking in front of a camera about some amazing collection of games. Again, if there are any more Nintendo 64 or GameCube games I get, I will update you. The next collection video I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be, but I'm going to make sure it's not Nintendo themed. Because yes, I still have Nintendo Wii games and Wii U games and Switch games, but let's try and not focus on those for a while. Plus I need more footage of those Nintendo games. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Talk all GameCube down in the comments and have a good day or night or whatever it is. I, Viddy of Viddy's Gaming Videos, will see you soon for a new video. Goodbye. Oh, and before I forget, I did get as release the Game Boy Player as well. This thing has probably gone up a lot in price as well. But yeah, I do sometimes play Game Boy games on this as well. Your Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games actually. It's that little add-on that fits under my purple lunchbox that is the GameCube. You just need to put the disc inside and put in the Game Boy game and play Game Boy game on the TV. At least we do not need to lights and stuff to, try and see the Game Boy Advance better. Oh, sorry. Anyway, that is the end of the video. Goodbye. Just like with Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2, I'm also going to show them both. Blair.